Hey guys, so in this video I'm gonna go ahead and do my review on the latest episode of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, Princess Spike. Alright, so in this episode it takes place in Canterlot, and it first starts off with Princess Cadance with all the other princesses, and Princess Cadance, yeah, she kind of has an important role in this episode as well. She shows off this thing called a summit, which is basically this statue where all the ponies from all of Equestria, they put these little gems and they made the statue, and they had somewhat called it a summit. All right, and then Cadance let Princess Twilight thank everyone for putting it all together, and she also explains all the things that she had to go through in order to put it together. And then after the intro, then once Spike and Cadance and Twilight get back up, then once Spike gets back up to the suite where Twilight's staying in, which is actually the same place. I think it might be the same place that Rarity stayed in, and Sweet and Elite. But yeah, once Spike gets up there, then Cadance comes into Twilight's suite as well, telling Spike that Twilight is really saying pretty much that Twilight's really tired. So then, because Cadance explains to Spike that Twilight has been awake for like 3 days straight, and so Twilight comes into the suite really tired. So then Twilight decides to get some sleep. So now Spike has to try and keep things quiet for Twilight. So then Spike sees this bird tweeting outside of Twilight's window. So then Spike decides to go up to it and to tell the bird to stop tweeting. And then the bird flies in through the window of where Twilight is staying, and then the bird goes on top of Twilight's head and starts tweeting some more. But then Spike gets back into the suite, tells the bird that Twilight needs to sleep because it was really important for Twilight to get some sleep. And I think it had to do with the reason why is I think it had to do with some opening ceremony or some welcoming for the summit. Alright, so then the bird finally leaves Twilight alone when Spike explains to the bird that Twilight needs her sleep. And then Spike hears this big I think it was a croquet game. I'm not sure what it was called, but yeah, then Spike I think grabs the ball from it and explains to those ponies that Twilight needs her sleep in order to be awake enough for I think the opening or welcoming of the summit. So yeah, and then that takes care of that. Then Spike hears another pony making some noise with a chainsaw. This pony was using a chainsaw to cut down some trees. So then Spike tries to go up and tell the pony to be quiet. But these trees, I think they had something in the trees made Spike actually had something in it that Spike was allergic to. So yeah, so So then that pony. So then when Spike told that pony who was using that chainsaw to cut down those trees and those branches, then that pony left those trees alone and stopped making all that noise with that chainsaw. Sorry, just want to make sure that my glasses weren't too crooked. And then Spike hears some more noise. He found this pony that was working on this water main in the middle of the street of Canterlot, yeah. And so Spike tries to get that pony to be quiet. So yeah, and so yeah, but let's see what I'm trying to think. So yeah, but yeah, when Spike tries to tell the pony to be quiet with that noise, he explains that they can't have a broken water mains. But then Spike explains to that pony that he needs to be quiet because Princess Twilight is sleeping. So yeah, and then once Spike gets back up to Twilight's suite, then Spike decides to sit outside of the door and eat some gems and eat one of the gems because Spike loves to eat gems. And then after that, then some ponies start going up to Twilight's suite. And then they want to speak to Twilight about some friendship issues, or ask some questions to Twilight about how to solve certain issues about friendship, but again, Twilight is sleeping, so then Spike has to speak for Twilight so Twilight can get some sleep. So yeah, and then, but really Spike is actually telling fibs about what Twilight's saying, because Twilight's really not saying anything, because she is asleep. And, yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest, I am a little tired myself, actually, because, yeah, it's like 7 something, and I wanted to make this video last night, but apparently somehow I just didn't get around to it, unfortunately. But let's see, and then Spike ends up abusing the privilege of speaking for Twilight, and that first starts off with, and he goes to these meetings that Twilight was really supposed to attend to. And then Cadance gets concerned about that, starts to get concerned about Spike abusing his privilege of speaking for Twilight at these meetings that she's supposed to be to. And one important meeting that Spike goes to that Twilight should have gone to was this. There was this pony, the same pony who was working on that water main, that Spike told that pony to wait a few hours. That's one important meeting that Spike should have gone to. And so, yeah, then Spike again abuses his privilege of speaking for Twilight and taking care of all of the things she needs to take care of. One example is, I think one example is he goes to a massage, which is not really productive at all, and then gets some muffins. Like, basically he says, by order of the princess, to get all these fun things, and then and then I think one example is he goes to this one artist and tries to draw him in a really muscular way, and then I think he was. Oh yeah, and that scene, I'll just say that scene made me think of the meme, draw me like I'm one of your French girls. But, yeah, and then Spike, did I mention the muffins part, or the cupcakes part? Yeah. And basically, Spike was giving all these really unnecessary orders, by saying, by order of the princess, basically to give Spike what he wants. So then Spike then meets back in the Canterlot, back in the same room in Canterlot where the summit takes place, and then so Cadance comes in acting concerned about Spike because Spike is not really doing what's best for Twilight. And then later on, Spike explains like he did solve some things. Like for one thing, he did try to move that one croquet game or whatever it's called to a different place to where they don't have to make so much noise. And then later on, the ball from that golf-like game, they accidentally hit it and then the ball lands on the water main, and then the water from the water main gets broken to the point where it floods, and then floods that same room where I think it was like the Canterlot ballroom, and then floods that room, and so yeah, that makes a big mess. And it knocks down the trees as well. And then at one point, the pollen, and then at one point, one of those leaves from those trees, they end up in the Canterlot Castle Ballroom, which is the trees that Spike is allergic to. So then he ends up sneezing, and it knocks down that summit that had all the gems, that all the ponies from Equestria. It had all those gems that the ponies had put in from all of Equestria. Spike sneezes, knocks it down, and then a bunch of ponies, including like Fancy Pants. I don't know the other names of the other ponies, but then they come in all angry, and then Spike apologizes for what happened, and then Fancy Pants is like, "Why are you?" I don't know how to impersonate him, but yeah, he asks, like, "Why are you apologizing?" And then Spike pretty much gets Twilight involved, which he kind of is, because Spike was doing some favors on her behalf without her permission. So then all the other Canterlot ponies that I think were involved with helping out with the summit get really mad at her, which they shouldn't have. They should have really gotten mad at Spike. Yes, but then they start running up to her suite, and they're trying to get Twilight to respond to them instead of listening to Spike. I have no idea what just fell down from my... Anyway, sorry, got distracted. Heard some noise out my window. Anyway, so then Spike tries to calm down the angry mob, so Twilight can get some more sleep. And so then Twilight finally wakes up, and then the ponies finally get a hold of Twilight, and then at one point Spike finally admits to Twilight that Spike was doing some things on her behalf that Spike really shouldn't have done. And so then Spike apologizes to Twilight for doing some of the things on her behalf that he shouldn't have done. And then he also apologizes to the other ponies that got mad because of the ruckus that had happened in the Canterlot Castle ballroom. Oh, and yeah, did I mention, yes, Spike was making up also early on in the episode that Spike was telling fibs about what Twilight says about each of these ponies, asking questions about asking questions related to friendship or questions to help other ponies with their friendship issues that they might be having. But yeah, anyway, so then Spike apologizes to all the other ponies that got mad about what happened in the Canterlot Castle ballroom with the summit. And so then Spike tries to build the summit back up together. But then the other ponies start helping out as well. So then that summit gets fixed. And then Spike, and that gets rebuilt. And they all got relieved. It all worked out well. They got it all sorted out. Oh, and yeah, and let's see. And I think I probably should have mentioned, like, the water main was also a big deal. How Spike told a fib about when Twilight said he should have waited a few hours to work on it. Which she didn't say that at all. Yeah, that was an issue, but yeah, overall, they got it fixed. They helped Spike fix the statue. And I think they fixed a lot of other things that got messed up in the Canterlot Castle ballroom. I think that's where it took place, and I'm not quite sure, or at least another important room in Canterlot. But yeah. So overall, one last thing, and then I think there was this pony that tried to reward Spike, but it was actually some of the leaves that, or I don't know if it was leaves, but it was what Spike was allergic to from that tree. And so then it ends with Spike going, like getting ready to sneeze, and then the credits. But I'm gonna have to say, overall, this episode wasn't too bad. I'm usually really not one for Spike-themed episodes. This one actually wasn't as bad as I thought. It wasn't as good as all the other episodes. I guess, yeah, but it definitely wasn't as bad as all the other Spike-themed episodes. Although there are some good ones, I just honestly don't prefer. I don't know. But either way, it was a good episode. It could have been, but at the same time, it could have been a little better. It wasn't as good as the other episodes this season, but I still really liked it. So anyway, that is my review on the latest new episode of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time, alright? Alright, thanks guys. Alright, bye.